We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. There was a nation living in peace and unity. Hey, they are people with love and harmony. Oh, yeah. They saw greatness rise up to its purity. With another people of different culture, ideal and heritage, bias and oppressive. Oh, I see. A nation from trigger of Africa, rising with strength and might and power. In due time, nobody gonna praise us. Rather, you all gonna embrace her. With your flag, with your flag, with your flag, with your flag. Oh yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. Oh yeah, Biafra is our home. Oh, it's my home. Yeah, Biafra is our home.
I reminisce way back 1967. Death toll and the blood couldn't count them even. Mama screaming, child squealing, pops on the ground. 2.5 years, over 3 million's gone. Why? Cause we asked for our freedom, and we're going back to our sovereign kingdom. They shut us down when we cried, the world said nothing. Sitting back in the crib, watching our suffering. Should I talk about the planes dropping shells like rain? Suka had the first taste of our heroes' blood. Abagana Zobunigwe was stronger than flood, but the juke was too strong and fought them off on the chart. Thought the bloodshed's gone, then it came again. 216 and the massacre, it started again. So bloody now, I couldn't cry tears. Blood dripping down my eyes, water in my vein. We died trying to fight the cause and we're trying to break him. It's our freedom, but the world was against us.
Wave your flag over Africa. Welcome people of Biafra. Wave your flag over all the world. See those people of Zion is here.
It is a nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion. It is a nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. Hey. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. I see the rising sun from Africa. Oh, this is a sign of victory. Oh, yeah. I see future in Africa. Oh, yeah. People of Biafra. See, I shining on the wall. Oh, yeah.
We will now turn to the second part of this booklet, part 2. The events we're going to describe from the booklet centers around the 29th July 1966. 29th July 1966. As a result of the strong opposition which had manifested itself to the Unification Decree, General Ironsi undertook a series of tours of the Nigerian provinces to seek the advice of the traditional rulers. In the early hours of 29th July, while staying in Ibadan with the military governor of the West, Lieutenant Colonel Adekunle Fajuyi, the Supreme Commander was kidnapped and subsequently murdered together with his host. In a nationwide mutiny, all servicemen of Eastern origin in the North and West were killed, incarcerated, or escaped to Eastern Nigeria. Several soldiers of the Western and Midwestern origin were also killed. Lieutenant Colonel Gowon, a Northern officer who had been Chief of Staff, Army, under General Irensi, then assumed the position of Supreme Commander. Little has been published by the federal government on the mutiny. The only source of detailed information is the Eastern Government publication January 1915, Before and After. It was published in March 1967 by the government printer Enugu. This publication describes in detail the events of 29th July and thereafter. There were lists of number, rank and name, 43 of the officers and 171 of the other ranks who met their deaths, and gives a full account of the manner in which the mutiny was organized. A list is also published of 128 of the northern officers and men known to have taken an active part in the event, including those immediately responsible for the arrest, torture, and dishonorable death of the Supreme Commander and the Western Military Governor. Such a wealth of detail has been given that it should not have been difficult for the Lagos Authority to have disproved the allegations had they not been true. For instance, the production alive of some of the officers and other ranks listed as murdered would have been thrown considerable doubt on the whole account. Failing any such rebuttal, serious weight must be given to the allegations contained in this publication, which are of significance to the unhappy history of Nigeria since independence. Number 1. In accordance with the decade-old policy of the North, the aim of the 29th July massacres was clearly twofold: to split the country and establish an independent Republic of the North, or to re-establish the dominance of the North in cooperation with some elements in the West over the rest of Nigeria. 2. The D-Day was given the code name Araba Day. Araba Day. Araba is Hausa for secession. Number 3. In Lagos, Lieutenant Colonel Yakubu Gowon, Chief of Staff, Army, was to install himself in the Central Operations Room to enable him discharge his overall responsibility for coordinating the operations throughout the country. In the north, the military governor, Lieutenant Colonel Hassan Usman Katsina, was to disappear so that no authority could have access to him to direct any counter-action. In the east, the military governor, Lieutenant Colonel Odimegwu Ojukwu, was to be killed as early as possible. Number 4. If secession was eventually effected, Lieutenant Colonel Gowon, the officer already selected for the post, was to declare himself the Supreme Commander, or Supreme Commander of the Republic of the North. The North was to lower the Nigerian flag and hoist the Northern flag, which was a bold piece of cloth with lateral stripes of red, yellow, black, green, and khaki. But if the North resumed its dominance over the rest of Nigeria, Gowon was to declare himself Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces and head of the National Military Government of Nigeria. Number 5. Ikeja too soon became the rebel headquarters, into which Lieutenant Colonel Gowon and his men moved immediately into. It became likely that his role in the Central Operations Room in Lagos would be detected. Gowon hoisted and flew in front of the 2nd Battalion headquarters at Ikeja, the secessionist red, yellow, black, green and khaki flag of the Republic of the North from the end of July to the end of August. Number 6. The transparent fabrication that he, Gowon, was taken to Ikeja under duress, and that no one else could control the rebels, is too foolproof to deceive anyone. But even if Lieutenant Colonel Gowon alone could control the rebels, should a nation then hand over the command of its army and the determination of his destiny to anyone, a lieutenant colonel, a sergeant, or a corporal, because he is the leader of the rebels? January 15, before and after, alleges, in addition, that the 29th July mutiny was instigated by and planned in cooperation with certain discredited northern ex-politicians. The ex-politicians of the northern officers, the ex-politicians and the northern officers with whom they plotted are named in the plans, in their methods of communications and funds described in some detail. It is therefore interesting to note the comment of Peter Inahoro, who, as editor-in-chief of the Lagos Daily Times, contributed an article on the Nigerian political situation, which appeared in The Guardian on the 12th September 1966. And I quote, "Collusion between army officers and politicians who had much to lose in Irosi's latter-day commissions of inquiry into public corporations, the probing of personal bank accounts of all ex-politicians, and the mooted plan to seize ill-gotten gains is the more likely reason for the 29th July revolt." Now, Mr. Nahara's view was in some general terms reflected by John Bullock, who wrote on the 23rd 22nd of October in the Daily Telegraph. And I quote, "Those who could gain from plunging the country into chaos would be the traditional rulers of the North and the politicians there who had manipulated the puppets of Lagos for so long. It is the politicians of Nigeria who began the tragic train of events which had brought this country within a hair's breadth of dissolution. Their corruption and contempt for the people, and their acceptance of domination by one section, caused the original military takeover in last January. That rebellion involved officers from many different parts of the country, but it brought to power General Renzi and Igbo. His regime was welcomed in the belief that it would sweep away the ostentatious self-interest which was the guiding light of the civilian politicians, and he could also claim at least a semblance of legality, as the government members who were still alive asked him to take control. But he could not command the allegiance of the North, as the May riots, in which at least 3,000 were killed, was to show. On the 29th of July came the second revolution, this time by northern soldiers. Irensi was kidnapped and has not been heard of since, though Easterners persist in regarding him as head of government. The federal government has released few details of the course of events on 29th July through a white paper. Though a white paper has been promised, which will set out the full circumstances as far as they can be ascertained. Nigeria 1966 confines itself in the main to suggesting that there were widely circulating rumors that the incomplete job of January 15th was to be finished by eliminating the remaining officers of the non-Eastern origin. There were also rumors of a counter-coup plan by some northern elements in the army with the assistance of civilians. There is no explanation of how the 15th January revolutionaries, all of whom were in detention at the time, were to be able to finish their incomplete job. Nigeria 1966 goes on to describe how those of northern origin in Nebeokike became apprehensive, then took their weapons, shot 3 of their officers on the spot, and infighting within the army spread to Ibadan, Ikeja, and then the units in the north followed. Well, although the federal account gives heavy emphasis to the wildly circulating rumors of an Igbo plot and ends with the suggestion that the 29th July and 15th January coups should be regarded simply as a tribal tit for tat, it does not in any material particular contradict the far more detailed Eastern version. The northern mutineers failed to gain control of eastern region of the Nigeria. Lieutenant Colonel Ojukwu broadcast to the nation on the 1st August to announce that a ceasefire had been agreed with the rebels, he said, "In the course of this rebellion, I had discussions with the Chief of Staff, Supreme Headquarters, Brigadier Ogundipe, who, as the next most senior officer, in the absence of the Supreme Commander, should have assumed command of the army. My colleagues and other military governors and the Chief of Staff, Army Headquarters, Lieutenant Colonel Gowon, that during these discussions it was understood that the only conditions on which the rebels would agree to a ceasefire were: 1. That the Republic of Nigeria be split into its component parts; 2. That all Southerners resident in the North be repatriated to the South, and all Northerners resident in the South repatriated to the North. In spite of the fact that the only representation made at these ceasefire conditions and negotiations were those of the rebels and their supporters in the North, and notwithstanding that the views of the people of the eastern group of provinces had not been ascertained, it was agreed to accept these proposals and stop further bloodshed. It is important to note that the military governor of the East did not recognize the legality of Lieutenant Colonel Gowon's assumption of the position of Supreme Commander. Indeed, the murder of General Ironsi was not publicly admitted by Gowon regime until after the Aburi meeting of the Supreme Military Council in January 1967. Until that time, at least, therefore, Lieutenant Colonel Ojukwu, as military governor of the eastern Nigeria, negotiated with Lieutenant Colonel Gowon as Chief of Staff Army, an acknowledged leader of the rebels controlling Lagos, the west and the north. In this connection, a chance outburst by Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who led the West delegation to the Constitutional Conference in Lagos at the end of September, is relevant. Referring to what he considered to be the time-wasting tactics of the Northern delegation, he said, "Some people wanted a more prolonged approach to the work of this conference, and it has now transpired that we have not made much progress after 5 days of meeting. I think most people are tired with the present army occupation in the country. If one section of the country feels that because they are in control and in occupation, therefore the conference may go to hell, that does not suit this delegation." This is the Ad Hoc Conference on the Northern Constitution, Nigerian Crisis 1966, Volume 4, Government Printer, Enugu. While following the ceasefire agreement with the rebels by Lieutenant Colonel Ojukwu, a meeting of representatives of the 4 military governors and Lieutenant Colonel Gowon was convened to consider what immediate steps could be made to allay the fears arising from the state of tension in the country. The meeting took place in Lagos on the 8th and 9th of August and unanimously recommended the following. Number 1, that troops should be sent back to barracks in their region of origin. Number 2, the abrogation of any decrees which assumed centralization, i.e., which detracted from the previous powers of each region. Number 3, that Lagos should be garrisoned in a manner to be determined by the military council governors. Number 4, a constitutional conference should be constituted to work out the most suitable form of political association for the country, and said conference to meet within a week from the 9th of August. Of these 4 recommendations, only the 4th was acted upon, with some delay by Lieutenant Colonel Gowon. The ad hoc Constitutional Conference began its deliberations on the 12th of September. The implementation of the first 3 recommendations, that is, that the troops should be sent back to the barracks in their region of origin, that the abrogation of any decrees which assumed centralization, i.e., which detracted from the previous powers of each region, and thirdly, that the Lagos should be garrisoned in a manner to be determined by the Military Council. All these were put on hold. So, the implementation then of the 3 aforementioned recommendations, which would have resulted in the end of northern military occupation of the West and Lagos, and in removing the fear of domination by one region over the others, remained one of the major items on the agenda 5 months later, when the Supreme Military Council met at Aburi in Ghana. Now, when the Constitutional Conference did eventually convene at Lagos on the 12th of September, their deliberations took place in an atmosphere of increasing tension and were finally adjourned on Monday, 3rd of October, by which time a campaign of terror had already been unleashed on Easterners resident in the North, which was to claim 10 times as many victims as the riots in May, and which was to lead to the exodus from northern Nigeria of about 1.8 million Easterners. Thank you.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. There was a nation living in peace and unity. Hey, they are people with love and harmony. Oh, yeah. They saw greatness rise, subdue its purity. With another people of different culture, adherent heritage, bias and oppressive. Oh, I see. A nation from trigger of Africa, rising with strength and might and power. In due time, nobody gonna praise us. Rather, you all gonna embrace her. With your flag, with your flag, with your flag, with your flag. Oh yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. Oh yeah, Biafra is our home. Oh, it's my home. Yeah, Biafra is our home.
I reminisce way back 1967. Death toll on the blood, couldn't count them even. Mama screaming, child squealing, pops on the ground. 2.5 years, over 3 million's gone. Why? Cause we asked for our freedom, and we're going back to our sovereign kingdom. They shut us down when we cried, the world said nothing. Sitting back in the crib, watching our suffering. Should I talk about the planes dropping shells like rain. Suka had the first taste of a hero's blood. Abagana Zobunigwe was stronger than flood, but Ojuku's too strong and fought them off on the chart. Thought the bloodshed's gone, then it came again. 216 and the massacre, it started again. Too bloody nails, I couldn't cry tears. Blood dripping down my eyes, water in my vein. We died trying to fight the curse and we're trying to break him. It's our freedom, but the world was against us.
Wave your flag over Africa. Welcome people of Biafra. Wave your flag over all the world. See those people of Zion is here.
It is a nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion. It is a nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. Hey. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home.